money to Hamas. They they say it's for humanitarian purposes, but they know that Hamas takes the money and they will then spend it on weapons and ammunition. And all that the Biden-Harris administration has done in the past year, all they've accomplished is to prolong the war and to prolong the misery and the agony and the suffering of the people there. On the other hand, if President Trump is reelected, I think you will see a rapid settlement. You'll see peace come to the Middle East. The two sides will sit down with President Trump. The hostages will be released, and there will be some kind of rapprochement, if you will, some kind of agreement reached between the Israelis and the Palestinians. I don't think that Hamas will be allowed to stay in charge of Gaza, but I think that the Palestinian people will be as relieved to see Hamas go as they will be relieved to see the Israelis go. I don't think Trump will be aiming for a ceasefire. A lot of people talk about a ceasefire as if that is the best possible goal. But a ceasefire isn't peace. It's not a settlement. A ceasefire means, okay, we're going to stop shooting for a little while until we start shooting at each other again. And all that does is prolong the misery and the suffering of the people. The way to end a war is to end the war, to come to a peace settlement. A ceasefire just gives each side time to buy more weapons and more ammunition and to continue killing each other. And anytime there's a war, 90% of the people just want the war to stop. They're the civilians, they're the ones suffering. But a ceasefire allows the fighters to regroup, to go back, grab more civilians, make them fight more, grab more weapons, kill more people. Whereas ending the war means the civilians are in charge again and not the shooters. And that's what President Trump will be aiming for. That's part of why he'll be able to solve it, because Biden is only asking for a ceasefire. He's not asking for an end to the war. Well, look at what Trump did when he was president before. He brought about peace, recognition, and normalization between Israel and 5 or 6 Arab and Muslim countries around the world. I'm a former diplomat. I'm not just a former principal deputy assistant secretary. I'm also a former diplomat. I was a State Department Arabist. Well, alhamdulillah. I worked in the Middle East for many years. And my colleagues in the State Department said you could never have peace between Israel and an Arab or Muslim country until there was peace between Israel and the Palestinians. President Trump came in and said, wait a minute, I don't think that's true. And he reached out to those countries and they said, sure, we want peace. We want to have normal relations with Israel. We're not going to let the Palestinians have a veto over our foreign policy. And Trump was able to accomplish that because he saw a vision to create an overarching settlement between Israel and some of its neighbors. I think he will continue that policy, and he will continue to work with people and find people who will work with him. Palestinians, Jordanians, Emiratis, whoever it is, he will find people who will work with him and who will work to achieve peace. Even among the people of Palestine, you're going to find people who will say, I care more about the life of my children than killing one more Jew. That's a very good question. I'm so glad you asked that. One of the reasons that we are in a war right now, that there are wars everywhere around the world right now, is because of the Biden administration of being weak on foreign policy, the way they left Afghanistan, the way they left behind all the American allies in Afghanistan, all of our friends, Americans who worked over there came to love like their own brothers. Biden pulled out the Americans and left all those people behind. That signaled weakness to the entire world. And also before that, Biden stopped drilling for American oil, stopped producing American gas, stopped producing American energy. And so all that did was make Iranian oil, Russian oil and gas, other people's energy resources more valuable because he took the American energy resources out of the world market. Iran makes hundreds of billions of dollars a year from selling their oil and gas resources. When Trump comes back in, he's said over and over on day one, he's going to produce more American energy than we have ever seen before. That will drive down the cost of energy, and that will drive down the money that's going into the bank accounts of Russia and of Iran. He will also put sanctions on Iran like he did before and make the Iranian government weak. When they're strong and when they're rich, they have money to supply weapons to the Houthis, to Hezbollah, to Gaza, to Hamas, to all of their surrogates, to their militias in Iraq, all of their surrogates around the world. And if Trump comes in, he will cut their money.